But even after she'd broken up with Diddy and was with this man who's publicly saying I'm proud of her, there are now text messages of her still in communication with Diddy, saying things like, I'm lost without you. I can't get the abuse expert to make it okay that you said that. Why is she still crawling back over to Diddy? I just feel like it's really undermining her testimony. But one of the things I just would say is that I really feel like Diddy, and I've said this in every video that I've talked about, but just to reiterate, I really think, and I fear that Diddy's going to get off. He's a terrible, 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 terrible man. Horrific. And I think that we all know that he is. I'm just concerned because I don't feel like they are managing, and maybe they're just going to wait till they get closer to the end of the trial so it'll all be fresh in the jury's mind about this racketeering. But so far, they've not proved, and they don't seem to be proving, this big organized crime ring he was the head of. But what we are getting is tons and tons and tons of stuff about Cassie and Cassie's character. I'm concerned because it would appear that the cross-examination is really showing that she is a difficult witness to believe. Because even after she left Diddy, and this is the story that I was like, oh man, this is really undermining the video of you getting dragged around and you saying you hated this and you saying you didn't want to be on drugs for these freak-offs. Even after she'd left Diddy, and even after she was in a relationship with her now husband, who she is pregnant with, his children, and she has children with him, and he's been super publicly supportive of her and being like, I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of the job that she's doing. I'm so proud of her for standing up for this. And I know he feels that way. But even after she'd broken up with Diddy and was with this man who's publicly saying I'm proud of her, there are now text messages of her still in communication with Diddy, saying things like, I'm lost without you. I can't get the abuse expert to make it okay that you said that. You know what I'm saying? Because like, you're out of the relationship now. You're dating another man. But you choose to reach back out to your abuser and say, I'm lost without you. I miss you. I wish we were still in a relationship, basically. The abuse survivor expert cannot explain, I don't feel adequately, that is something that an abuse victim would do. Very few people have like a super clean break, you know. Although, when you're with somebody else, that's probably a great time to make sure that you've cut off all ties to former relationships. You're not like side texting, you know. I don't know how many of us have that scenario, but a lot of us have had it where, you know, we break up with somebody, but then it's like, oh, you see him again, and you grab a drink, and you're like, oh, this was good. And then you got to kind of like, no, we're really broken up type of thing. That, I think, could be one thing if she wasn't already in a relationship with somebody else and had established herself with this, like, clearly good man. Why is she still crawling back over to Diddy? I just feel like it's really undermining her testimony. As a member of the jury, I would then be like, okay, well, when he's like dragging you around the hotel, was that part of the freak off? Like, was that act that was happening part of it? Now, it isn't, because he's come out and publicly said, you know, I'm sorry. But if they wanted to spin it as like, oh no, that was part of it, like she was down for that, that was like part of this sort of play that we were acting out. Like the whole thing was like this sort of really weird and twisted thing, but that was like part of it, you know. That could have been a story they went with, because here's a person being like, I can't wait for the freak off. I'm texting you about, you know, when's the next one. And also, I'm now out of the relationship, but also texting you being like, I'm lost without you. Human emotion and human abuse and the way that your mind gets broken and twisted when you are misused and abused is a serious thing. So I'm not undermining the complexities of what's happening here. There's a lot of psychology here that I am like ill-equipped to discuss. What I know from being a human and from being in, you know, the various circumstances throughout my life is that abuse can really mess you up, and it can make it very difficult for you to see the light. So there is a part of me that totally understands. I mean, doesn't totally understand Cassie. I've never been in a freak off with Diddy. But there's a part of me that can very much imagine what it is to have difficulty breaking ties with the person who has misused you. At the same time, a jury that is trying desperately to like find some kind of path that they can walk where they're like, a jury wants some black and white stuff. They want details to the story that they're like, okay, I know this is true and I know this is false. And I think that it's going to really blur the lines for the jury when they see somebody who says, I hated Diddy, but then when I was out of a relationship with him, I was texting him saying I'm lost without you. The reality is, like I said, so much psychology to this, so much broken in the mind of a used and abused person, that there is a reality in which that could happen. And she really still didn't really want to be with Diddy, but still there was these ties that she had made to him that made it was very difficult for her to break. The jury isn't going to care about that, because the jury really needs there to be good guys and bad guys, because there's just so many details. I'm just worried about the lines being blurred. But even so, this isn't a case about abuse. So really, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if they believe her or not, because are they going to be able to prove that Diddy was this head of a organized crime? I don't know. I'm worried about this trial, you guys. I'm worried that evil will win.